bought a lot of books. Does anybody else do that? Or is it just me? It might just be just me. I have a lot of books. It's kind of a problem. Oh well. Hello everyone! My name is Trianala, but you can always just call me Tri or Kinsey. I don't really care. And guys, this is not normally a video that I do on this channel, and I don't plan to like start doing this normally, but I went to a bookstore called McKay's, and it is, if you live near like the Nashville, Bellevue area in Tennessee, there is a bookstore called McKay's, and they sell all kinds of stuff. They have games, movies, audiobooks, regular books, every genre of book, records, like vinyl records, game systems, video games. They have everything. It's like people go in and they sell them their stuff, and then they sell it for really discounted prices, and a lot of times you can find extremely good deals on everything. So I went there for the books. Me and my boyfriend both went there the other day, and I want to show you the books that I got. Now, I am a very big reader. I really like to read. I kind of go through phases to where I read a lot in one period of time, and then I kind of like burn myself out on it, and then I back off a little bit, but I still do like to read nevertheless. So I have got 19 books here to show you, because I actually technically I spent a lot of money, but it would have been way more if I would have went to like Barnes & Noble. I got 19 books for $89. Now that would have been probably over $200, $300 if I went to a retail bookstore like Barnes & Noble or Books A Million, something like that. So I am definitely okay with spending $89 than over $300. But without further ado, this is going to be a very long video since I have 19 books. So grab something to drink, grab a snack, and if you would like to see the books that I have purchased, then keep on watching. Now, I am not, this channel is not going to become like a booktube channel or anything like that. This is just like a once in a period type of video, because I really wanted to film it, and hopefully you like it if you do enjoy reading. If you don't, hopefully I can make some suggestions to you that kind of spark the reading interest in your brain hole. But the first book that I did pick up here is Apollo, which is by Rick Riordan. This is the Hidden Oracle series, and I thought this was awesome. I've read all of Rick Riordan's other books, if I could English properly. He writes a lot of young adult mythology books. So he has Roman mythology, he has Egyptian mythology, he has Norse mythology, a lot of different book series. He wrote the Percy Jackson series, which I've read all of. So I love Rick Riordan's books, and I found this one for $9. How much is it normally? $20. And it's a hardcover. So it's a hardcover book for $9, and I am super happy about that. This one follows the god Apollo, and he basically does something really stupid, and I think it's Zeus gets mad at him, or another god gets super mad at him, and they punish Apollo by transforming him into a young adult boy and throw him onto Earth to make him figure out, to make him figure out what to do. So I'm really excited to get into this one. I've heard a lot of good things about it, and I've heard that Apollo is a bit of an a-hole, but you know, he's a god, he doesn't really know any better. So I got this one. And then the next book I picked up, I have actually already read this. I read it on my Kindle, but I really wanted the paperback edition because I thought it was really pretty, and it is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. If you do not know, Carry On is not a companion novel, but basically there is another book by Rainbow Rowell called Fangirl, where the character writes fan fiction for a series called like Adventures of Simon Snow or anything. I haven't read Fangirl, but this is that fan fiction. It's not written by the actual character of the previous book, but this is it's so good. I have already read this one, but I really wanted to get the paperback edition because it's so pretty. But basically this is about they're wizards, and they go to again a wizard school. It is very similar to Harry Potter in some aspects, but this is Simon Snow. He is He's a wizard, but he uses a sword basically to do his spells instead of using a wand. And then this right here, this is Baz. He is a vampire, and the two of them in the very beginning, they hate each other. But then they start, you know, grow on each other. They have to start to work together, and there is some boy-on-boy action in this series, or in this book as well, which I was totally down for. It was really adorable. I loved it to bits. I thought it was wonderful, that it was super great. So if you have not read this book, and if you're looking for another wizard like fantasy, this is not high fantasy by any means. It's just, it's fantasy, but sprinkled in with a tiny bit of contemporary. So it's not hardcore. There's not too much to learn about the world, if you will, but it's just wonderful. Definitely pick this one up if you have not read this one already. It's so good. And then the next book I picked up, which I am currently reading, there's actually multiple books that I'm currently reading, and I probably shouldn't do that, but I do anyways because I can't help myself. And that is Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. Me and my boyfriend were was in Walmart the other day, and he actually found this copy for me because I can't see, but it is signed by Mr. John Green himself, so that was awesome. It was a signed copy, so I thought that was wonderful. And yeah, so this one is not part of the McKay's haul. I found this one in Walmart. But anyways, Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I have started it. I'm liking it so far. I'm not very far into it, as you can see, not very far at all. But this is about a girl who suffers with OCD. And you really like can feel, like from what I've read anyways, you can really feel what's going on with her. And it kind of sounds weird because I myself don't suffer with that condition, so I'm very ignorant when it comes to understanding what goes on. I do have anxiety, so I do kind of know what it's like to deal with mental health issues, but not in the OCD aspect. But you know, it goes along with the fact of you can't really focus on anything. You're thinking so much of other things, even when you should be thinking of something else, but you can't because your brain is just going 1,000 miles a minute. Like in the very first chapter of this book, the only thing that our character can think about is the low rumbling sounds that her stomach is making. And while her friends are talking to her, she's not paying a lick of attention, thinking about her stomach. But really good so far. I'm really liking it. I've read The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, and that's the only other one that I've read. I haven't read any other ones yet, but very excited to finish this one. I've heard so many good things about it, I just had to pick it up. Now, going back to McKay's, I did pick up this book called The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. It's great. I actually have already read this one. I read it in like 2 days. It was wonderful. I loved it to bits. This book is about a queer English lord who goes on an adventure with his best friend, who is a person of color in the 1800s, and they have to kind of deal with all of that. And his best friend, he is actually in love with our character that we follow. His name is Monty. And Monty is kind of low-key in love with his best friend that is named Percy. So again, a lot of boy-on-boy action in this, which I absolutely loved. Their character, their actual like chemistry and the relationship between the two, absolutely loved it. They also go with their sister Felicity, and they are basically going on a tour of Europe. If you did not know, back in the 1800s, if you were a privileged adult male and you had an estate to come back to, you would basically wait for your father to die, which sounds really bad, but you would basically wait for your father to die. You would go off and basically tour all of Europe. You could go for 3 months, you could go for years, and then you would have to come home, get all of your childishness out, drinking, partying, sleeping around, stuff like that, and then you would have to come home and then take over the family's estate. So that's what they did back in the 1800s, and that is what this is about. So good, so hilarious, but then Monty, a lot of hijinks ensues, and there's a lot of twists and turns that I did not expect at all. They end up being kidnapped by pirates and everything. It's just wonderful. It's great. Give it a read. I've talked way too much about this. Just read it. It's wonderful. This book is also by Mackenzie Lee. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but Mackenzie Lee down there. And the next book I got is called Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I absolutely love this cover. I cannot get over how pretty this cover is. I love it so much. Basically what this book is about, to my knowledge, what I can basically like describe is that this is set in a boarding school, I believe, yeah, a famous private school in Vermont, and there is a murder that happens. To my knowledge, there's like a murder that happens and nobody knows who it is or what happened, so you're trying to figure out who committed the crime, and there is a lot of twists and turns I've read. It has a little blurb here from John Green that says compulsively readable, intricately plotted. So definitely has a lot of good blurbs from John Green, Lee Lockhart, Sarah Weinman. So I'm really excited to read this. I'm obsessed with this cover. I don't know why, I just really am. I love the blue and the leaves, but love me a good murder mystery, so definitely excited to read this book. Again, McKay's $9 for this beautiful hardcover. You can't go wrong, I swear. If you're in the area, definitely give McKay's a look at, because this was originally $18. Next book I picked up was The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. Yes, Becky Albertalli, and I have seen the book, the Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. I have not read that one yet, but I know I need to because there is a movie coming out about it named Love, Simon, and it's basically about that book. So I wanted to pick this one up. I've heard so many good things about it. Basically this is about a girl who has had like 21 crushes in her life, but she's never acted upon them. She's never talked to the crushes. She's never done anything about it, so it's going through her experiences of being unrequited. So definitely a good contemporary read, if I do say so myself. I've heard, again, ton of great things about it. Very excited to read this one when I'm in the mood for a nice contemporary. The next book I picked up is One Dark Throne by Kendar Blake. This is the second book in the Three Dark Crowns. I believe it's going to be a quartet. I have the first book, which is Three Dark Crowns. I have not read either of these yet because this one is the second one. This one is the first one. Still haven't read it, but this they are a series and I'm super excited about it. I've heard so many good things about this series and I haven't read it yet. I don't know why. Sometimes I get kind of like intimidated with fantasy books because there's so many of them. I love fantasy. Fantasy is my favorite genre of book, but I still find it hard sometimes to really dive in because there's always so many, and if they're not out yet, like if it's, you know, a series like this is the first one, this is the second one, there's only 2 out and there's 2 more coming out. So if I read both of these and then the next one, the third one, doesn't come out for like a year, I'm not gonna remember what happened in these 2. So I don't know, I'm weird about it, but these 2 are out so far, and what these are about is every time the queen gets pregnant, she is going to be pregnant with triplets. So these 3 sisters have to eventually fight to the death to be crowned the next queen. Sounds very brutal. Sounds very brutal, but it actually sounds wonderful. All the 3 sisters have some kind of magical power. One of them is a naturalist, so she does control animals. The other one is a elementalist, which does control the elements, and the last one is a poisoner, which controls poisons, and she's really good at making poisons. So each 3 of these sisters have to fight the other sister and kill them to become the next queen. So it's really kind of like a Hunger Games situation, but it's with royalty instead. So sounds really good. But the sequel, One Dark Crown, is the one that I picked up at McKay's. So now I have both. Very excited about it. Can't wait to dive into these 2. Next book I picked up, I've heard so much about this author and everything that I hear is wonderful. She is a contemporary author, so pretty much all of her books I do believe are contemporary, but I don't have one, so I really wanted to pick one up, and this is the one that I found, and it is Finding Audrey by Sophie Kinsella. This, I believe, is about a girl that suffers with anxiety, which I also do have, so I can definitely relate to that. And so she wears dark glasses around everywhere she goes, so she doesn't have to like deal with the world around her. I believe that's the premise. I'm not entirely sure. But I saw this, it was $5 I believe in McKay's, and it is $19 originally. So I swear I'm like Mr. Krabs. I'm like money, 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 money. Not gonna spend any money, just get it for a discount. Oh, I almost dropped it. But I'm really excited to read this one whenever I want a nice contemporary. Next book on the list that I did pick up is going to be The Bone Season. This is a fantasy book that I've wanted to pick up for quite some time. I also found The Mime Order, which is the second book in the series, but I wanted to go ahead and just get the first one to see how I liked it. I have heard so many good things about this series. I believe it's going to be a trilogy, I believe, I'm not sure. But this is about a girl named Paige, which is a clairvoyant. The year is 2059, and she commits an act of treason, I do believe, and she goes on an adventure to kind of clear her name. That's what I'm getting from this. I've heard so many good things about this series and this book in general, so I am very excited to get into it. I do believe that it is adult fiction, not young adult fiction. I'm very excited to read this. Can you believe this was $2.50? $2.50! Like, how much was this normally? 21, wait. That's in pounds. Is that pounds or euros? Is that pounds or euros? I think that's pounds. Not sure. Definitely an expensive book though. I'm very excited about it. Cannot wait to get into this. Did I say it was by Samantha Shannon? I don't know if I did. Very excited to get into this. Another fantasy book that's really been on my radar. Excited to jump in. Big book, very heavy book as well. I'm very excited to get into it. The next book I picked up is called One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus. I have heard quite a few good things about this book. I do believe that it's another murder type mystery. Let me read you the inside flap because it is kind of short. It says, "Pay close attention and you might solve this. On Monday afternoon, 5 students at Bayview High walk into detention. Bronwyn, the brain, is Yale Bond and never breaks a rule. Addie, the beauty, is the picture-perfect homecoming princess. Nate, the criminal, is already on probation for dealing. Cooper, the athlete, is the all-star baseball pitcher. And Simon, the outcast, is the creator of Bayview High notorious gossip app. Only Simon never makes it out of that classroom. Before the end of detention, Simon's dead, and according to the investigators, his death wasn't an accident. On Monday he died, but on Tuesday he had planned to post juicy reveals about all 4 of his high-profile classmates, which makes all 4 of them suspects in his murder. Or are they just the perfect patsies for a killer who's still on the loose? Everyone has secrets, right? What really matters is how far you would go to protect them." So one of them has killed Simon because they didn't want their juicy nothings to be leaked in the school paper. Or the killer is not any of them and he's just out on the loose. So you happen to figure out which one of these characters killed Simon, and I believe they're all lying. So you have to kind of like decipher it yourself. Sounds really interesting. I've been trying to get into more like murder mystery books recently because I have not read very many of those before in my life. So definitely want to pick out this one. It was again $9. What a steal. The next book I got is actually the 3rd book in a series. I don't know why I got this because I don't even own the other books, but it is Blue Lily Lily Blue by Maggie Stiefvater. I just love the cover of this one so much, and I've been really meaning to read the Raven Boys. This is the Raven Boy Quartet, I do believe. The Raven Boys, the Dream Thieves, Blue Lily Lily Blue, and then the last one, I don't remember. I'll put it right here so you can see. But really super excited to get into this series. I've been meaning to read it. I really don't know all too much about it. I just know that it follows a guy named Blue, like a boy named Blue. And I'm really excited to get into it. I found this one at McKay's for, again, like $8 or $9. Wonderful condition. And where else would you find a perfect hardcover in this good a condition for $9? nowhere. The next book I got is another fantasy book, and it is called The Queen of the Tearling. I've heard so many good things about this series. Compared to like Throne of Glass and the Bone Season, stuff like that, this series has been recommended to me more than probably any of them. The Queen of the Tearling is, honestly, I don't really know all that much. I know it's a young princess must claim her throne, learn to become a queen in combat, a malevolent sorceress in an epic battle between light and darkness in this spectacular debut, the first novel in a trilogy. So she has to become queen, fight a lot of battles, and basically just be a badass. I'm really excited. It has its own bookmark. Why don't we do this anymore? And I absolutely love how big it is, and also the deckled edges. It makes it feel like a tome. Like, it makes it feel really cool. Even the cashier that checked me out at McKay's, she commented on how much she loved this series and loved this book in particular. So I definitely wanted to pick it up. It is by Erica Johnson. Very excited, right? Erica Johansson. I can't read, but very excited to read this. And the last book I picked up at McKay's is called Karl Ball. It is by Stephanie Garber, and I have heard, again, so many good things about this book in particular. It is about two sisters that want to go to this circus act so badly. So their dad gets them tickets to the circus act, and 5 minutes before the show, one of the sisters is kidnapped. And you don't know if it's actually part of the show or if it's actually dangerous. So the other sister gets picked to participate inside of the circus to find her sister. Now, and like I said, you don't know if it is like actually dangerous or if it's just part of the circus. The circus lasts until the sister is found, which can take weeks or months, however long it lasts. That's how long it lasts for. So I'm very excited to read this. I like it on the back. It has like an admit one, like a ticket on there. It looks really nice. And the cover itself is actually very stunning. I really like it. So those are all the books that I got from McKay's, but I also have 4 other ones right here on my bed that I did pick up from Amazon. So I wanted to go ahead and show them off as well. Just put this into the haul, basically. The first one that I picked up at Amazon is called Autobiography. Very cute. I love the cover of it. It looks wonderful. I have heard a lot of good things about this one as well. It does seem to be about a boy who is openly bisexual in his school in California, but since then his family and himself have had to move to a small town, like a small city in Utah. So he basically has to bring back in his sexuality and basically be in the closet again, which is very sad. And it's kind of his story with dealing with having to be back in the closet because he doesn't really know what's gonna happen. Like, the place in Utah where they moved to, same-sex marriage, and the LGBT community is not very it's kind of looked down upon, which is really sad in itself. But and apparently he meets a boy. And they kind of become friends, and then hopefully more than friends. So I'm actually really excited about this book. Heard a lot about really good things about it. Definitely can't wait to dive in, but I'm feeling a contemporary. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, I literally just realized this. Kinsey, you're dumb. They're standing on a book. I thought it was a tent. That's cool. They're standing on a book. That's really cool. I did not notice that. I thought it was a tent. The next book I picked up is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. I actually picked this up on recommendation from a couple of people that I watch on BookTube, and they were like raving about this, saying that it was really good. So I wanted to really pick it up and read it myself. I don't really read a whole lot of adult fiction books, so I am very excited about it. It's about this girl named Eleanor Oliphant, and she is suffering with, she's not really suffering, but she's very socially awkward. And I mean extremely socially awkward. I'm socially awkward. But she is one of those people that is very socially awkward but doesn't realize it. She gets put in situations where like she gets put in situations that turn very, very awkward because of what she says. She very just speaks what she's thinking. There's not much of a filter there, and she gets put in these awkward situations, but she doesn't feel awkward. She doesn't feel any of that. But as the reader, I haven't read this is just what I've heard, but as the reader, you feel very awkward for the situation that she's been put in, and the characters around her feel very awkward as well, but she doesn't. She doesn't acknowledge any of it. She doesn't feel that way. So it's kind of it's really interesting. I'm really excited about it to read it. I have never read a book like this before. The next book I picked up from Amazon is a graphic novel, and I am currently reading this, and it is called Nimona. I'm loving it so far. I am 53 pages in, and I am absolutely loving it so far. It's not very big. I do believe it is about 200 pages, 260. So in this book we follow a couple of villains, which is really nice to see that part of it. So here is Nimona. She is a shapeshifter, and she is also the sidekick to Blackheart, which is like the main villain of the story. This is Golden Loin, which them two used to be best friends back in school, but then Blackheart beat Golden Loin in like a sport. I believe it was jousting. Beat him in a sport, and he got super jealous and blew off his arm. So they kind of goes from there. Very, very good. Nimona is absolutely hilarious. She's adorable. She shapeshifts into like a shark, into a dragon, into a little rat. She's so cute. I absolutely love her. The writing style is adorable, and it's very, very, very funny. I'm loving it so far. Also, the actual art style of it is wonderful as well. I'm really enjoying it so far. Cannot wait to continue on with this. And the very last book I have here to show you, I have to say is probably my favorite one. I got this from Amazon as well, and it is the collector's edition of A Darker Shade of Magic. So happy that I have this book. I've heard so many good things about this series. It's by V.E. Schwab. I am absolutely loving. I haven't read it yet. I haven't read it, but I've heard so many good things about this series. It is a trilogy, and this is the first book in the series. I really want the other collector's editions if they have them, because this one's black and it's red and gold. Normally the cover, I'll leave it right here, you can tell the difference. It looks so cool. I love it so much, and it is a collector's edition. Also in this edition, let me just take the dust jacket off because it looks amazing naked anyways, but in this edition there are illustrations of the characters inside the front flap and the back flap. So incredibly happy with that, and to top it all off, it's signed. I am so happy I got this. I'm so excited to read this. I have been wanting to read this for so long. I need to get the other books just so I can have the set because it is, I've heard from so many people that it's absolutely wonderful. It's A Darker Shade of Magic, A Gathering of Shadows, and A Conjuring of Light. They're all out. So I have no excuse. I mean, they're all out. So I should just read it and just marathon all three and just get it over with because I'm gonna love it. Basically what this is about, it has Grey London, which the one that we're currently in, without any magic. There's Red London, where life and magic are revered, and White London, a city slowly being drained through magic, and then Black London, which has been destroyed by magic and nobody can go to, no one can talk about. But we follow our character Kel, which can travel between all four of these Londons. And I believe it's also about two characters that used to be best friends and now they're mortal enemies years later. So I'm really excited to see what happens to these two characters and how they had their falling out, and if they become friends again. I'm very excited about it. Cannot wait. Super excited. I love it. And guys, that is it. Those are all the books that I got from Amazon and McKay's, and also one from Walmart. But I'm so happy that I got all these because I'm really excited to read them. It's going to take me quite a while to do so, but I will get them done eventually at some point, mark my words. If you would like to see more videos like this, let me know. I know it's not the normal thing that I do on this channel, but I really just wanted to film it. I felt very, very giddy because I wanted to film it so bad, and I think it's good to really film, film videos that you want to film, so very excited about it. But guys, I am going to end the video here. Please click up that like button and subscribe if you want to. If you want to see other videos that I post, and when I post them, click the little bell down at the bottom there, and I will see you guys later.